On July 7th, 2026, today, as I'm recording, a UK judge closed the book on one of the biggest press accountability cases in modern royal history. And if you think this was a fair fight, well, buckle up, because what we uncovered about the judge himself would make your jaw drop. 6 claimants, 0 credibility findings against the Daily Mail. I mean, 0. Of all 6 of them, this judge didn't find one, not even one, credible evidence that they offered. And a judge who just over a decade ago was literally paid to defend the same kind of tabloid conduct he just cleared. Stick around, because today we're breaking down Prince Harry's furious response and asking the question I haven't heard anybody in the mainstream press seems willing to ask. Was this justice, or was this rigged from the start? Welcome, this is Majesty Sussex Report, and I'm Antonio. Thank you for spending some of your very valuable time here with us. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you after the intro. Thank you for sticking around. Mr. Justice Nicklin dismissed the £50 million lawsuit brought by Prince Harry, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Elton John, David Furnish, Elizabeth Hurley, Sadie Frost, and Sir Simon Hughes against Associated Newspapers Limited, publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. After a grueling 46-day trial, in his 436-page ruling, Nicklin concluded the claimants failed to prove Associated Newspapers Limited engaged in any unlawful activity at all, rejecting claims involving phone hacking, bugging, blagging, and corrupt payments to private investigators. The case had been billed as the final reckoning for Britain's phone hacking era, following the closure of the News of the World and admissions of wrongdoing by Mirror Group.
Drop a note in the comment section if you think this verdict smells fishy. Hours after the ruling, Harry and Baroness Lawrence released a searing joint statement, calling it a complete and obvious whitewash. Harry pointed out something previous coverage barely touched. This verdict represents a complete reversal of the position which previous judges have taken in successful hacking claims against News Group newspapers and Mirror Group newspapers. Cases where, as Harry put it, the claimants were represented by at the time the judge who made this decision. That line is the heart of today's episode. Harry is directly flagging that Nicklin once sat on the other side of the table. Is this not a conflict of interest? Here's where the story gets genuinely wild. Before he became a High Court judge, Matthew Nicklin QC was a leading media law barrister at 5RB. And he didn't just dabble in phone hacking cases, he was Mirror Group newspaper's lead defense counsel in the 2015 phone hacking trial. That trial included claims from Sadie Frost herself, one of the very claimants sitting across from him in this Mail case a decade later. Back then, Nicklin argued for the newspaper group, at one point telling the court that hurt feelings claims deserved no more and no less than standard compensation, and pushing back hard against claims of unparalleled harm from hacking victims. Would you trust a judge who used to defend the same type of newspaper conduct he's now ruling on? Let us know. Fast forward to 2017, Nicklin is elevated to the High Court, and by 2021, he's been named judge in charge of the entire media and communications list, meaning virtually every major press privacy case in England now runs through him. That includes this one.
Imagine that you are a father and a grandfather, and your son believes that you are endangering his entire family because there are security concerns around his visit to his and your home country. And by the way, they have found that there are significant threats to Harry and his family. This is something that is known. And your father will not provide to you the security you need to come and visit. Not only that, but you are going to call the security concerns a psychodrama and saying that he is trying to emotionally blackmail you because he wants better security for his family to come and visit you. You would have to be a shitty father and grandfather for your own son to feel like you are endangering him and to do nothing about it, and then to call him crazy on top of that. That is what's happening with King Charles. And by the way, William as well. Let's not forget that his mother, your ex-wife, actually died because of this. And you still called her crazy, and you continue to call her crazy. That is what Harry and Meghan are dealing with the royal family.
Harry's statement doesn't stop at the conflict question. It goes further, alleging an outright double standard in how evidence was weighed. Harry says that while claimants presented documented evidence, male journalists simply gave denials, and the court chose uncritically to believe them, even in the face of inconsistencies, contradictions, and blatant untruths. He cites specific examples: a private investigator caught on tape admitting to unlawfully blagging; Baroness Lawrence, a journalist recording the use of investigators to dig up sensitive medical information on someone the Mail was reportedly too cautious to even publish; and an investigator emailing a journalist the exact British Airways seat and ticketing details of Harry's then-girlfriend Chelsea Davy in 2007. The Guardian's court reporting confirms Nicklin did acknowledge the Davy flight details incident as incriminating and the Frost pregnancy story pitch as highly intrusive, but ruled that neither amounted to proof of unlawful information gathering. To be fair to the full picture, the claimant's case suffered a devastating self-inflicted wound. Their key witness, an alleged whistleblower named Gavin Burrows, later disavowed his own witness statement as a forgery, and Nicklin found his evidence argumentative, evasive, internally inconsistent. Without Burrows, the claimants were left leaning on isolated blagging incidents that the judge ultimately found unproven. This is important context. Harry's team's case genuinely weakened over the 11-week trial, independent of any question about the judge. Do you think the Burrows scandal sank the case, or was it always an uphill battle against the Mail with this judge? Despite the ruling, Prince Harry showed no visible frustration on his first engagement for the one-year countdown to the Invictus Games, where he welcomed Uganda, joking about the room's air conditioning during a speech at Chatham House. Hours later, before flashing a smile and a thumbs up to cameras. This marks his first major loss in his multi-year war, holding the British tabloids accountable, following his prior win against Mirror Group and a settlement with News Group newspapers earlier this year. The claimants now face a potential £50 million legal bill, with ANL seeking to recover its costs.
No two healthcare systems are the same, and no two military cultures are the same either. And what brings us together is far more important than what sets us apart. Every one of us believes that those who have served their country, and in particular those whose lives have been changed by that service, deserve more than our gratitude. They deserve opportunity, the chance to redefine one's purpose and identity. They deserve to truly feel our admiration and respect. And they deserve every chance to build the life that they choose beyond military service. That's what the Invictus...
So let's be brutally clear about what happened here. A High Court judge looked at 6 Britons: Prince Harry, Baroness Lawrence, Elton John, David Furnish, Elizabeth Hurley, Sadie Frost, Sir Simon Hughes, each with years of documented intrusion, and somehow concluded that not one of them managed to put a single scrap of credible evidence before the court. Not one. The tabloids, on the other hand, needed nothing more than a shrug, a denial, and a straight face. And that, we are told, is justice. Yet I applaud Harry and every one of those claimants, because what they did was not easy, not fashionable, and certainly not rewarded. They walked into the belly of the beast and had the courage to say, "This is wrong, and it has been wrong for decades." The industry will toast this verdict in private dining rooms and publisher boardrooms. Glasses will clink in Kensington and Canary Wharf. But the losers are not Harry and his co-claimants alone. The losers are the ordinary people of Britain, because this judgment tells every tabloid in the country that the old tricks still work, that blagging and intrusion and character assassination will be met not with accountability, but with judicial indulgence and press room champagne. In the end, this is not just a story about a prince and a handful of celebrities. It is a story about power, about a press that can devour lives with near impunity, and a legal system that has chosen, at least on this occasion, to look away. The party may be at the Mail tonight, but the hangover belongs to the public. And unless something changes, unless cases like this are taken seriously by the bench, those front pages will keep drawing blood, and Britain will keep paying the price. Because when the king picks the tabloids over his son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren, I have nothing else to say.
We came to court seeking justice and accountability, but we have received neither. This judgment represents a complete reversal of the position which previous judges have taken in relation to the hacking claims successfully brought against both Newsgroup newspapers and Mirror Group newspapers, who were represented by, at the time, the judge who made this decision. Generic findings about various private investigators that were held by the courts in these parallel claims to have carried out unlawful activity at the very same time in relation to similar stories and well-known individuals have been wholly ignored. The fact that this court has chosen to dismiss them represents an inconsistency which is hard to understand or reconcile with common sense, or the evidence heard in the courtroom itself. It is a complete and obvious whitewash, but sadly not altogether unexpected. However, the lengths to which the court has gone to exonerate the Mail is as shocking as it is totally unwarranted. When the court says there is not sufficient evidence of wrongdoing, despite the documents showing otherwise, then one does wonder how justice was ever going to be achieved. One need not look past when a private investigator the Mail used actually admitted on tape to having unlawfully blagged Baroness Lawrence, or when a journalist recorded the name of the private investigators she used to find out about highly sensitive medical information that even the Mail was too worried to publish, or when another private investigator emailed one of the journalists with the actual British Airways seat number and ticketing details for a young girl simply visiting her boyfriend in return for payment. It feels here like one rule for the newspapers and another for the claimants. While the claimants presented evidence, Mail journalists simply gave denials, and the court chose uncritically to believe them, even in the face of inconsistencies, contradictions, and blatant untruths that were obvious to neutral observers in court when compared to the documents. We presented to the court evidence which we believed was compelling at the time, and remains so now. We would like to thank our legal team for all their hard work and all the witnesses who were brave enough to come forward in the pursuit of justice.
I'm very happy that Prince Harry and Baroness Lawrence decided to make this joint statement because it gave a lot of clarity for many of us as to how this decision came to fruition in regards to the perspective of the judge. Because when I first read the sort of summary of it all, the things that stuck out for me that really made me pause and think, what exactly does this mean? And for me, it was that there were 6 claimants and that the judge didn't find not one of their stories or one of them had enough evidence to prove what they were saying. Not one of them, of all 6, not one of them. And then the kicker for me was when the judge said that the testimony of the reporters was credible and that he believed them. You mean to tell me you didn't question one of their stories? So, as a reporter, you mean to tell me that when the reporter said, I was at the same party as Prince Harry, that is how I that is how I got that information. Well, why should I just believe you? Who did you get it from? How did you get it? Were you in a circle with Prince Harry speaking? When? Who? Who else can collaborate that that's the way you got your story? I mean, it is just absolutely ridiculous, right? Sherborne, the lawyer, barrister, had this great analogy sort of thing that he presented to the judge. He said, "Well," and I'm going to paraphrase here, so do forgive me if I forget this a little bit wrong. But he said, "Imagine you have a high end luxury sort of watch, right? And that watch disappears, and then the watch appears on another person's risk. Like, this is other person that has it." He goes, "Who do you question? Do you question the person that has the watch and ask them, well, how did you get that watch? Because that watch belongs to this person over here. Or are you questioning the person who owned the watch and asking them to then give testimony or give reasoning as to how did the watch appear on this other person's?" See, it makes no sense because I own the watch disappeared, it appeared on somebody else's wrist. How am I supposed to know how did they obtain it? I have no idea. But you're asking me to give you reasoning as to how, you see what I mean? And it's the same thing. These tabloids, these so-called reporters, they get all this information, supposedly, allegedly, and the judge or the system is asking the people of whom the information was gathered from or stolen from, obtained illegally from, they're asking them, well, you need to show that how the information got to the tabloids or to the reporter. I don't know how they got it. How am I supposed to know? Right? So it's just really, really ridiculous. And to think also the hands that the palace, the monarch, and that whole system, the firm, had in all of this is just bizarre to me. It's bizarre to me that the palace withdrew the invitation for Prince Harry to stay at Buckingham Palace because the king did not want to be seen as the monarch to be interfering in the case. Then, my dear, why are there so many pictures of you and Viscount Ratimer? Why? That to me is interference. That to me is these two things should not be together. Why is it that there is pictures of the monarch with celebrating birthdays and what's not, and Ratimer there? Why? That to me is conflict of interest. That to me is interference. The last day dinner, guess who was at the last day dinner? Viscount Rottemere, sitting there, num 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 num. That to me is interference and a conflict of interest. Anyways, this I think this is not the last we may hear of this, or maybe it is. I'm not sure, but gosh, after reading Prince Harry and Baroness Lawrence statement, I got just very angry in how unfair the system really is, and that when judgment like these come down, that is so obvious, there needs to be accountability. There needs to be a way for there to be accountability. Anyways, folks, I'm working on the next podcast. Likely will be on propaganda, and just bringing to you, showing to you how propaganda works and how it gets into our minds, and all of a sudden things that we initially know are not truth, with repetition it becomes truth in our brain, right? Anyways, I'm working on that, so hopefully probably either later today or tomorrow it will be published. Thank you so much for hanging around. Thank you for being here, and go outside. Make sure you've been hydrated though, because it's been quite hot. But go outside, go for a walk, shake it off, all that kind of thing, and let's keep the Sussexes in our prayers. All right. If this is the first time you're discovering us, do subscribe. We would like that. It's important. Do all the other things that the algorithm requires for us to do, so that they know that we still exist, and that there's interaction with the material, the content with the channel. So leave a comment, press on that thumb like button thing, download, share, get up, do the hokey pokey and the tango, and turn yourself around. All of that will help. Well, thank you once again. Remember, please, please, please be kind to yourself, be kind to your loved ones, and to that stranger crossing your path, be kind to them also. You never know. Love you all, and God bless. Until we speak again. Mwah.
The judge said suspicion is not enough. But history still knows how to speak. Names on ledgers, cash in the dark, private eyes moving without a mark, phone lines humming, doors left thin, stories came out before truth got in. A duke with flight plans no stranger should know, a mother still grieving what the powerful owe, a singer, an actress, a family name, different faces, same old game. They said coincidence, they said clean hands, they said don't look too closely at the tracks in the sand. We know they did it, we know that they did it. Maybe the court said no, but the pattern won't quit it. We know they did it, we know that they did it. When the ink turns black and the truth said nothing came by force. But tell me how whispers travel so fast, from private rooms to the morning blast. Medical shadows, numbers and names, family sorrow turned into flames. If proof is buried under old stone, how do the wounded prove what was known? They call it freedom, they call it press, but freedom without conscience is only a mess. We know they did it. We know that they did it. Maybe the court said no, but the pattern won't quit it. We know they did it. We know that they did it. When the ink turns black and the truth gets hidden. Did they follow? Did they follow? Did they listen? Did they listen? Did they profit? Then call it justice. No, no, no. A broken rule, a paper can cheer, but a record remains year after year. The powerful smile, the wounded pay, but truth has a habit of rising one day. We know they did it. We know that they did it. Maybe the court said no, but the pattern won't quit it. We know they did it. We know they did it. You can bury the proof, but the people still get it. We know, we know, we know, we know, we know, we know. You can win in the courtroom
We know.
and still